Well, here we are in autumn, and I thought we'd look at one or two Euonymus. Perhaps it's the same in the plural as it is in the singular. Euonymuses from China. This one is Euronymous Hamiltonuranus, with its pink seed capsules and its red protruding seeds. Rather exciting, and absolutely covered this autumn, as it is most autumns in fact. Coming around the corner, I see these two extremely large Euonymuses collected in China by my botanist friend, and they have grown incredibly tall. This, I believe, is Euronymous Hamiltonuranus, and I was told that in order to get the best seeds you planted two together. Well, luckily my friend Martin had collected two plants, given them to me, so I planted them together, little realizing 20 years later how enormous they'd get. Coming up towards the obelisk to see another Euonymus, I noticed these nerines suddenly appeared out of a periwinkle. It was rather extraordinary. I think I may have planted them, I must have planted them. Anyway, the man on the urn looks somewhat stern. It's somebody who dares to outshine him. Now here we've got our native spindle, which has got these lovely red, obviously delicious berries, because many of them have been eaten already as soon as they get red. And of course this spindle has the most amazing autumn colour in about a month's time. And let's come down here past the Sorbus pink pagoda. Coming further down the path, we stop briefly to look at the rather strange fruits of the Magnolia Sunrise, which we saw in flower earlier in the season. But I must say, Magnolia seed can take the most extraordinary shapes. Unfortunately, sometimes rather rude. But then that's just the way my mind works, I suppose. Now we're coming to the last of the Euonymuses I'm going to show you. This one's a sweet little bush with white seed capsules and appropriately called popcorn. And here we have white capsules, as I've said, but we have also got orangey red seeds inside, so it makes rather a good combination. Coming away from Euonymus popcorn, just to quickly show you the rather late flowering scrambler fuchsia, species fuchsia called Fuchsia Reggia. subspecies Reggia. It is flowers a bit later in the year and isn't as hardy as Lady Boothby, but I can imagine in a mild climate this could go places. By the way, this comes from Brazil and was used in actually producing Lady Boothby, the fuchsia, in 1939, although this species has been known since the 1830s. Coming back up from the fuchsia, I can smell burnt caramel, which can only mean one thing, and that is autumn has arrived in the Japanese tree Circidiphyllum japonicum. It really is very strong when there's not much wind. It's a good yellow. Right, we're coming into the walled garden, past the dainty species Fuchsia Reggia. Yes, spell that. And then we come up to a very jolly shrub with orange flowers and grey felted leaves. This is Cohunia coccinea. And there are a few late bees and butterflies on here. We'll carry on up the path. Characteristigma still flowering. And the so-called Cape Fuchsia. And the Scheiser stylus, as I've known it. We go up past the lovely, gorgeous big hips of a very scented single rose, which I think is fire dance. And round the corner we see the Chinese banana, musella, and the jolly orange bells of an Butylon, which is called Marion. And just peeking behind there, you can see the rather smaller bells of a Butylon Megapotamicum Kentish bell. This is hardier. Now, coming around from the Butylon is this amazingly weird shrub, which I think was very fashionable at one time, probably only because of its rarity value. It's got these hanging catkins with tufts of purple mauve flowers coming out of them in succession. It has an extraordinary name, Rostrinacula dependens. Yes, anyway, there we are. Fashionable, fashionable. That's why I got it. In fact, I've now got 3. I wonder whether I will regret it. Near the Rostrinacula and a large Lobelia from Chile is a large plant of the New Zealand Pseudopanax. This one is Pseudopanax letus, and that's beginning to flower now. And it has its flowers which look really rather like an ivy flower. The flowers are all over the place once you start looking, but they are rather hidden by the leaves. They will open out a slightly whitish colour. I'll just show you something which does come into its own in October, but just under my rare Litzia populifolia, that is to say rare in cultivation, not in the wild apparently, Roy Lancaster tells me. I've noticed the first flower on the Algerian iris here, Iris unguicularis, which is so pretty. Anyway, enough of being sidetracked. We want to have a look at the large shrub, very spiny, of the so-called bitter Japanese orange, although it comes from northern China and Korea, and it is extremely hardy relation of the citrus. It is in its own genus of Poncirus, but there are some people who think it ought to be incorporated in citrus. It has these funny little bitter orange fruits, and the seedlings are used as an understock for the sweet oranges that you buy. You can grow in a pot, and it should impart a slight hardiness to them. It's called Poncirus trifoliata because the leaves are in threes. Coming away from the Poncirus, we are just going to spot a small marine, which I see is coming out in the corner here. This one's a sweet little marine named Marjorie Rogerson, and it's named after the wife of a GP in Braunton, the village near here, who had a wonderful garden. Before we finish, let's just savour the lovely colours of early autumn